Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final day of the round of 16 here in the Team Liquid Legacy Star League Season 2. Man, that intro is really long when you can't use acronyms. I feel like I should say out the acronym every time at the beginning instead of just go TLS2. But that's just way too long. Anyway, it is the last group. 2 more players will make it to the round of 8 to round out our round of 8 matchups. So far we already have, close your ears if you don't want to be spoiled. From Group A we had Siki and Draw. From Group B we had Michael and Julia. And yesterday, advancing from Group C, we had Terror and Skyline. So 2 Terrans, 3 Zergs, and a Protoss. So rooting for the Protoss today. Well, I'm always rooting for Protoss, but in particular today. Although, to be completely honest, I think it's very unlikely that a Protoss will advance from the group. I think it is exceedingly unlikely, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, here is the group for today. eOnzErG, Dewalt, Technics, and Wands. 2 Zergs and 2 Protosses. So we had a lot of Terran players yesterday, a lot of PVTs. Really good PVTs, actually. If you haven't watched all the games, I highly recommend going back, check out the VODs. They're already up, but there isn't a VOD post yet on Team Liquid. Anyway, yes, so first match is going to be eOnzErG versus Dewalt. Now, you might say, well, Dewalt was actually the longest surviving Protoss player last season. He actually made it to the round of 8, and was the only Protoss to do so in the first season of TLS. So, you'd think he'd be pretty good. And he did win a couple of impressive PVZs. But he's been a little bit out of form recently. I think he had exams like a couple of weeks ago as well, so he didn't even participate in Gambit's Cup Finals for one of the weeks, and otherwise just yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not been too active unless he's done like some secret fish training or something, which is possible considering that Rams put up an impressive performance yesterday, despite me also thinking he was inactive. So we'll see what happens there. And yeah, so the other Protoss in the group, Wands, of course, major underdog, although he has been the entire tournament, and yet here he is in the round of 16. So I'm curious to see what he can do, but I think this may be the end of the line for our hero. I mean, I had faith in Wands. I picked him to get out of the round of 24 group, and I was the only one, and I was right. But I think eOnzErG and Technics are a little bit too much. Just to give you an idea of how strong eOnzErG and Technics are, this morning in the Defiler tournament, eOnzErG 2-0'd Siki. That's right, eOnzErG 2-0'd Siki, and then 2-1 Technics as well. I don't actually know if he ended up winning the whole tournament, because he got to the winners bracket finals and then I stopped following it, because there were like 3 Zergs. But yeah, that was a very shocking result for me. So I'm very excited to actually watch eOnzErG versus Technics here. I don't normally look forward to ZVZs, but I think this could be a very exciting one. So, anyway, I think that is enough of an intro, and we can just go into the first set here. So it's best of 1 for the first 2 sets. It's going to be on Wind and Cloud. Here we go. Alright, here we go in game number 1. At the top right is the white Zerg. We have eOnzErG, who is apparently using the ID Innovation, or I guess it's Spanish, Innovación. I don't know, I can't really do a Spanish accent. Whatever. Dewalt will be here as the blue Protoss at the bottom right. And once again, we are on Wind and Cloud. Now, apparently, eOnzErG did actually end up winning the whole thing. He did win the Grand Finals, apparently against Anfod. So that's, again, pretty impressive. Anfod, I believe, is a pretty decent Korean Zerg player on the boss team of Koreans. And it was like, because we have vertical spawns, Overload's going to go in the correct direction, all that good jazz. Now, Dewalt, man, see, Dewalt is one of my favorite players. He actually, he streams occasionally, and there was one time I managed to catch his stream where he had his camera on and he was like singing along to to some awesome music, and it was really funny to watch. And he just looked really happy while he was playing. So, yeah, definitely like Dewalt, but I think it's gonna be very difficult for him. It's funny because last season at TLS he was saying like his PVZ is his worst matchup, and yet he still pulled off some impressive wins. I think he beat True Touch, and he took a game off Siki, and I think there might have been one or two other impressive victories he had. And eOnzErG, I believe he said his weakest matchup is his ZVP. So, you know, Dewalt may have a chance here. But given that eOnzErG just won the Father Tournament this morning, he's clearly in pretty good form. Anyway, looks like this drone is going to go cross-map scout. Pretty normal. And we're actually having a blind 12 next here from Dewalt, which is pretty crazy. And it's going to pay off because eOnzErG's actually gone for a 12 hatch. I was a little bit curious why he wasn't probe scouting. I assumed he would simply go blind Forge Nexus Cannon, because that's actually somewhat common to do that, and it's safe against everything against except a 9 pool, basically. But he actually went for the Nexus first, a little bit surprisingly, so this is obviously not safe against pool first openings. But the risk has paid off. eOnzErG is going to see this now, but there isn't really that much he can do about it. You can see the spawning pool is not even halfway done, so, you know, Dewalt will have his stuff up in time. And he has built the gateway on top here. I don't know if his units, like Dragoons, can actually get out of that gap. They might be able to, actually. It looks a little bit, like there's a little bit of space there. But I'm not sure. In the meantime, his probe scout actually went to the bottom left here. Now that he sees the Overlord, he should send it cross map. In the meantime, looks like eOnzErG is just going to get a third base here at the top left. So, I mean, if you look at the minimap, so it's the ground distance, natural, or, you know, just the overall distance, natural here, is going to be quite long. So, you know, if eOnzErG does try to play like a more turtley defensive style with SimCity and whatnot, it may be a little bit difficult for him to reinforce between the bases if Dewalt puts on pressure. But similarly, obviously, you know, for Dewalt to attack cross map will take him a very long time as well. So it's not a huge deal. Meantime, probe guy just poking around, not seeing anything too interesting here. And yeah, so Dewalt should be pretty happy with this opening. It's quite funny, it reminds me of Skyline's play yesterday, where he just like kept going for greedy build. Like he opened with 14 CC and then went like 1 Rex expand against Protoss. It was pretty crazy. Oh, I think he actually 14 CC twice now that I think about it. Anyway, looks like probe guy's gonna come over here, check out the third base, and won't be too surprised by that. He's like, alright, eOnzErG is playing standard. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Now, eOnzErG, of course, was our third place finisher. Or, sorry, excuse me, no, fourth place finisher last season. He actually had a really insane third, fourth place match against Skyline where he was like up 2-0 and then Skyline came back 3 games in a row. That was impressive. I believe also in his round of 8 match he played against Nemu, and Nemu actually asked me to choose the matchup for that match, and I actually picked Nemu to play Terran, so he actually got through. eOnzErG got through there with the ZBT. Fun little tidbit. Meanwhile, oh, I thought I saw something on a minimap over here, but it looks like it's just some drones mining. Meanwhile, Dewalt's actually doing a really good job keeping this probe alive. I mean, you know, we joke about like the Sail Curse thing, but seriously? I mean, seriously? Okay. Maybe hold on, let me try to like something else. Like if I say like, oh, this Overlord is moving really well, do you think it'll just like spontaneously implode or something? Because that was just a little bit silly. I mean, I'm all for caster curses, but it seems a little bit extreme. I can't believe that happened. Oh man! All right, so we have a 6th hatch here at the top left main. Very, very quick actually. Look at this. He didn't even bother, you know, building any defenses yet. His 4th and 5th hatch haven't even finished yet. He's already building the 6th here, so that's quite greedy. and potentially risky, depending on what his opponent's doing. But it doesn't look like Dewalt's doing anything too crazy. He's got his Corsair now scouting around to see what's going on. By the time he gets over to that top left main, eOnzErG should have had enough time to start preparing some defenses. You can see he's already starting to build sunken colonies at his bases, and he does have the Lings at the front of the Protoss base, so he will know when the Protoss decides to move out, or if the Protoss decides to move out. And he also has a very nice Overlord Scout. So you can see he's actually just sacrificed his Overlord. He's not trying to keep it alive and hide it from Corsairs. He's just gone straight in here to try and get as good a scout as possible. I think he's hiding in the corner here, so or maybe just like shift click it around. I thought he would just like stay in the corner to keep the Corsair away from the rest of his Overlords. Anyway, looks like this Corsair's gonna have to skedaddle. Dewalt looks like keeping on top of things. Most likely not gonna lose it, although it is gonna be a little bit close here. He needs to start turning. Or maybe not. Maybe that's enough distance. I think if you just go in a straight line, Scourge can actually catch you sometimes. I'm not actually sure exactly how it works. It seems like Scourge, in theory they're supposed to move at the same speed, but occasionally like they'll randomly hit you if they're close enough. But one trick you can do is, I believe if you move at if you turn the Corsair at 45-degree angles, the Corsair doesn't lose any speed, but the Scourge sometimes like bug out and pause on the turn. So that's a more guaranteed way of making sure your Corsair stays alive. It looks like he took another Scourge hit on the second Corsair, which is not necessary. He also, oh no, he does have a cannon here in the main. Okay, it's just a little bit lower. So his Corsairs will be safe here, and he is continuing Corsair production. Although I don't think he's getting +1 attack, is he? No, he's not. He's also got a lot of Zealots here. Is his speed almost done? Okay, his speed's almost done. As well as his +1, so he's actually going for some kind of really delayed +1 speed lot timing here. This is super delayed. He's going to have like 15, maybe more Zealots here when he goes out. Normally you see it much faster, when you have like 7 or 8 Zealots, you hit that timing. But Dewalt going for a super delayed one, and this could be effective, but eOnzErG's already got Mutalisks, and look at this, already Sim sitting up, getting additional sunken colonies. I think he saw that. At least he sees the tail end of the Zealots now moving out, so now he knows exactly what's coming. He's sending his Mutas out. Now the Corsairs, I don't know where the Corsairs are. If the Corsairs are high enough in number, they can come and help out, but there's only 3 of them right now. And they're staying at home for defense, so these Zealots are going to be free pickings for the Mutas. And there's not too much Dewalt can do about it. He's going to poke in here, he's going to see the sunken wall, and he's immediately going to escape. Fortunately for him, they are speed lots, so they can escape from the Mutas somewhat. I'm actually not sure if... Are they the same speed, speed lots and Mutas? Are speed lots slightly faster? I feel like they're about the same speed, but I'm not actually 100% sure. But obviously if you just split them up and scatter, you can keep them alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the one of the natural, so 8 gateways up for Dewalt, and this is kind of Dewalt's style here. I do remember him doing this last season. He does tend to go a lot of gateways off 2 bases and be fairly aggressive in the mid-game before getting his 3rd base. Whereas eOnzErG, I'm not sure if I've seen him play quite so eagerly getting that 4th before, but Dewalt's Mutas is pretty standard for nowadays. And you can see he's also got the +1 carapace for those Mutas. Does make them that much more effective, especially against Corsairs. I'm a little bit curious why Dewalt made 3 Corsairs if he's not going to make more and actually use them. He's like almost made them purely for defensive purposes, and that seems a little bit wasteful to just have 3 Corsairs chilling at home. I mean, yes, you know, you want to be, you got to be a little bit careful about the threat of the Mutas counterattacking your main base and whatnot. But I mean, if you're going to make 3 Corsairs, I don't know why you wouldn't just, you know, actually go and make 5 or 6 and use them actively instead of just passively. But I mean, that's fine, I guess. It's not optimal, but it's not terrible. But what's really not good though is that eOnzErG is actually already on even supply with Dewalt, as you can see. So 108 supply against 107. So the Corsairs finally making some use of themselves. There actually are enough Mutas to engage straight up head on though, and there's no cannon in the back of the natural, which is a little bit curious to me. I don't know why he has no cannon back here, since he already saw that eOnzErG was going Mutas, and he had plenty of time to prepare as well, because the Mutas were distracted by the Zealots, so I'm a little bit confused by that. Meantime, a big flock of Scourge coming in here, and so these Corsairs are going to have to be really careful. They have to stay above the Archons, have the Archons there supporting. This Archon's going to be a little bit careful it's not picked off while it's away from its buddies. Nice little pick off there by eOnzErG. Meanwhile, eOnzErG going up to Hive. His Hive is actually almost finished as well, and that's going to be quite problematic for for Dewalt. Now, Dewalt doesn't show any sign of getting a third base yet. He did have a probe moving out towards the 6 o'clock earlier. He gets sniped by the Mutapack, and it looks like he's gone for a Dark Archon with Maelstrom. Now, I don't see anything upgrading here, so I assume it's already finished here. If he does get a big Maelstrom off, it could be really effective, but eOnzErG does see the Dark Archon with an Overlord, so he's going to be extra careful not to let his Mutas get too close to that. And now it looks like he's going to counterattack the Mutas in the main base. The main army of Dewalt is completely out of position here, and the single cannon in the main is not going to cut it. The 2 Archons are coming back, and eOnzErG is not paying attention, taking some massive Archon hits on his Mutas while he wasn't watching, and he's continuing to not pay attention here, taking even more hits here, so the Muta's really not doing nearly as much as they could. Meanwhile, Dewalt going for the big counterattack at the Zerg Natural, but there's so many Lings and Sunkens there, I don't really see this is going to be that effective. There's just no way for the Zealots to even engage here. They are 1-1 Zealots though, so they're pretty beefy. Plus 1 Carapace is done on the Zerglings though, so that's going to stop the Zealots from 2-targeting them. Meanwhile, it looks like some Zealots are targeting the wall, some are just randomly running inside here. This doesn't seem that effective. Meanwhile, I don't actually know where the Mutas went. Random Maelstrom on some Zerglings, a bit of a waste right there. But I guess I just figured he had nothing really else to do with them. But it looks like Dewalt, though, actually is breaking through here. Just the sheer weight of the Zealots is busting through the wall. I don't even know how he has this many Zealots. Look at this. Look at that Zealot army. Oh, man. What is going on here? How has he broken through? I don't understand, but now eOnzErG is in serious trouble. He's only got a few Mutas left, but eOnzErG is gonna fall for sure here. Just an endless swarm of Zealots. This is like some best level macro here. The Korean Protoss player known for this kind of ridiculous Zealot swarm, just the endless Zealot reinforcements. Look at this, he's still spamming them out. He's got a probe now going to the 6 o'clock. There's a couple of Scourge there, but no Zergling to block that. Meanwhile, the drone's getting massacred on the way out here. Not a single drone will leave alive. 16 kills on that Archon. 20 kills on this Archon. The Greater Spire is going to fall. The Ultralisk Cavern is going to fall. eOnzErG is losing his main base. He's sending a few random Zerglings over, but that's going to do absolutely nothing. What is he doing? He's rebuilding everything. He's got 2 Ultralisk Caverns rebuilding in the top left main. But this is catastrophic damage. However, he did have a few Mutas remaining, so he did stop that probe that was at the 6 o'clock. So Dewalt is still without a third base here, and I would imagine is getting a little bit thin on minerals. Looks like he's still mining from both bases, but he won't be for much longer. But look at this insane army that he has. Just so many Zealots, and he's not got a single High Templar. He has not had a single Storm this entire game. I don't even know if he bothered to. He hasn't even researched Storm. He doesn't even need it. He's just gonna win with pure Zealots. This is like Reach style. This is pure man style PvZ right here. Just mass Zealots. And eOnzErG is probably seriously regretting not getting Lurkers right now. If he just had like 3 Lurkers, he'd be completely fine. But as it stands, he's in trouble. Now, interestingly, this 12 o'clock base is completely undefended, but because Dewalt is unaware of it, I mean, he's not going to bother about it. He could just send, like, a Zealot over there and would completely deny it. But now Dewalt is thinking, can he actually go for this? He wants to try. Again, it is a good wall there. There are a lot of Sunkens, but he broke through the bigger Sunken wall than natural, and here he goes for the second break here. Does eOnzErG have anything? Does he have Ultras? He has Ultras in production, but there is one Maelstrom on this Dark Archon, and Zealot Archon is actually the correct composition to play against Ultra Ling. If he gets a good Maelstrom on the Ultralisks, that could be crucial here. eOnzErG's got to be careful not to let them actually clump up too much. He's actually got a million Ultras, but there's one of the Maelstroms, but the Zealots and Archons aren't actually engaging them just yet. It looks like now they're going to start closing in here. The Archons are actually the key. The Zealots won't do that much damage, although it looks like the Ultras do not have their Carapace bonus just yet. And actually, 2-1 is finished for the Zealot Archon here, and it looks like the Ultralisks are going to start falling here. A lot of the Zealots have fallen, and there's still a few Ultras, but the Ultras have no support. They have no Zergling support. It is only Ultras. A few Mutas coming back in here, but it's looking like Dewalt is breaking through at the second natural, at the initial third base of eOnzErG. What is going on over here? Some random Zerglings. Looks like eOnzErG just trying to keep denying Dewalt's third base, but Dewalt does not need a third at this point. Look at this, 130 supply against 58. 2 Ultras trying to hold the top of the ramp here. They're going to grab one of these Archons, I think, but that is going to be it. eOnzErG cannot defend. Finally, some Storms coming in for the Protoss player. At like the 15-minute mark, we see some of our first Storms of the game. It looks like some Zerglings coming in the back as well, baiting out a Storm. Storm really doesn't actually matter at this point. I don't think anything matters because Dewalt is about to win the game. eOnzErG can't believe it. He doesn't want to leave. He's down to 40 supply. He must be in shock here. But GG from eOnzErG. Dewalt takes game number 1 against all expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, I am in shock. I am probably more shocked than eOnzErG. I thought this group was just going to be a walk for the Zergs. I thought it wouldn't even be a contest. But apparently I have no idea what I'm talking about. I mean, you know, you'd think I'd have figured out by this point that I don't know what I'm talking about, but every time, man, every time. Wow. So that means Dewalt goes on to the winner's match. Well, let me update this. Dewalt win. Boom. Dewalt in the winner's match, eOnzErG in the loser's match. And now it is up to Wanz to take down Technics to do the uber upset here. Man, if Wanz beats Technics now, that means we're guaranteed a Protoss out, and my head will just explode. Oh, wow. Alright, so we're going to go to a very quick break, and then be back for the second match.